as you settle into a sumptuously upholstered chair in the parlor of Romer, a private rail car built in 1918, you might wish to ponder the journey into the past on which you're about to embark. A time when business titans like the Rockefellers and Astors drove the American economy, often aboard their own roving palaces. I'm Brad Campbell, and this is Our State's Hidden History. Romer, tipping the scales at 100 tons, is like a miniature Biltmore on wheels. Vast expanses of hand-carved quarter-sawn oak, luxurious cherrywood-lined bedrooms with brocade curtains and bedspreads, sparkling bathrooms clad in Italian marble, lavish fixtures, and breathtaking corridors.
I had a travel bug, and from 16 years old on, I was traveling in Mexico a lot, just to travel. So I fell in love with the old heavyweights. I ended up collecting cars, and one thing led to another. I should have gotten into Model Ts or automobiles that are easier to move around and everything.
Robert Menzies is the owner of the Aberdeen, Carolina and Western Railway, ACWR, a short line or regional railroad headquartered in Candor. Over the past several years, Menzies and a team of craftspeople have restored about a dozen classic railway cars to their former glory. Some are sleeper cars, but there are also parlor cars, dome cars, baggage cars, and diner cars in the mix. Romer, though, stands out. Built by American Car and Foundry in St. Louis, it took 42 workers over 6 months to restore the car.
I've always loved anything that moved and travel and transportation. I mean, I've traveled all over the world. I used to hop freight trains when I was a teenager, and I went from Arizona to New Orleans on a freight train and everything. So I've always had that adventure in me, and I've always had that love.
Menzies' love of trains runs deep. By his estimation, he racked up 17,000 miles hopping freight trains in his younger days. That same passion led to degrees in transportation and logistics, followed by teaching stints at 2 universities. Then he saw a classified ad for a tiny railroad in North Carolina with 1 locomotive and 34 miles of rapidly deteriorating track between Aberdeen and Star. Menzies had exactly 0 experience running a railroad, but his lifetime of enthusiasm for transportation made the opportunity irresistible.
It took 16 years to break even, 20 years to make what I call a profit, a decent profit.
Today, Aberdeen, Carolina and Western is the largest privately owned short-line railway in North Carolina. Around the time it began to show a consistent profit, Menzies turned his attention to vintage rail cars. Along a peaceful stretch of North Carolina 211, the scene inside ACWR's workshop is anything but. 4 parallel sets of railroad tracks cradle a dozen vintage train cars. Some are stripped bare as skeletons. Others are fully restored to their former glory. And the remaining ones exist in various stages of reincarnation. Amid the smell of wood glue and grease and a cacophony of table saws, drills, and sanders, more than 130 years of railroad history is being lovingly coaxed back to life. In addition to private cars like Romer, Menzies and his team have restored several cars that once served everyday travelers, like the Santa Ynez, a ladies' lounge and sleeper car built by the Pullman Company in Chicago in 1926. The ACR team also spent an extraordinary amount of time and effort on the Pinehurst, a Pullman car from 1912 that required the removal of 32 coats of paint to reveal the exquisite mahogany of its interior. For sheer stick-to-itiveness, the Menzies Vista, a stunning 1954 aluminum dome car, might take the cake. With no historic or archival information to go on, the car presented a blank slate. Menzies tapped into his creative side to transform it into a modern Art Deco masterpiece. The wide variety of projects represent not only the breadth of Menzies' interest in railroads, but also his steadfast belief in the importance of saving as many kinds of iconic cars as he can. Far from being static museum pieces, ACWR's restored cars are both beautiful and functional. Some of ACWR's restored cars are on display right next to Pinehurst Resort, including Engine Room 87, a beer bar fashioned from a retired locomotive. The other cars, including Romer, are kept in ACWR's Candor Shop, where monthly public tours of these marvels are led by volunteers who are as passionate about rail history as Menzies. Menzies' hope is that by reintroducing people to a more relaxed and thoughtful way of getting from point A to point B, they'll begin to appreciate what he calls slow travel. A reminder that, as Menzies himself knows well, the journey can be as gratifying as the destination. Want to learn more? Check out my story in the March issue of Our State magazine. This episode is sponsored by the Charlotte Museum of History.